Cool.
Go for it.
Okay.
Nice.
Now, do you want me to look at you or Cheri? I'd
Whatever
rather
you
look
like.
at Cheri
She's better
than you.
looking than I am, I'm not going to lie.
All right.
I'll put that up, don't worry about that.
Okay. Oh yeah, I'm thinking that's what we need. But
Unless you want to wait for it.
no, it's all good. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody from the Taste of Washington. I'm Cheri Walters with wineblog CheriWalters.com here with Master of Wine Bob Betz.
Hi, Cheri.
And talking about the Washington wine industry. Now you've been in the industry for quite some time, but I'd love to focus in on the past 10 years and what has happened in the past 10 years.
An explosion is the only way to look at it. From a vineyard standpoint, from a cellar standpoint, new wineries. But most important is how we're discovering, what we're discovering about the Columbia Valley. And it's turning over new direction in the vineyards especially. Sites that we've never found before, understanding the site and variety relationships, specifying more specifically how this variety or that variety do in relationship to that specific site. And I think that is a great sign of a vineyard district that's mature.
I want to talk up a little bit more on this we're getting from Yashar, but so I'm hearing that Syrah is really the next upcoming thing. What are your ideas?
Oh, I love Syrah, and it's found such a welcoming home here in Washington. If you look at what Syrah needs to flourish, it can flourish in the soil and weather conditions that we have here in the Columbia Valley. Remember that Syrah is an incredible chameleon. It changes its character depending on where it's grown. Cool sites, warm sites, intermediate sites, hot sites. It gives you such a wide range of characteristics. And this is one of those varieties that I'm talking about, where we're finding that the site and the variety are marrying up wonderfully. Okay? It can produce anything from this very cool climate, very focused, almost reductive, tarry, asphalt sort of wine, to this broad, lush, creamy, warm site wine, and everywhere in between. And it's up to the wine consumer, what you have here today, to really understand what they prefer and where they should go to find it. So I'm bullish on Syrah. We produce 3 Syrahs at Betz family. One from a cool site, La Serene, from the Boucher Vineyard, and one from an intermediate site, the Red Willow Vineyard, the oldest block of Syrah in the state, and then one from a warm site on Red Mountain, which gives us 3 different textures, 3 different berry characteristics, and 3 different aging potentials. Love the variety.
Yeah. So how would you say, I mean, with older vines, for people out there who are not really familiar how that affects the wine, how would you say that translates into the glass?
Oh, the debate rages whether old vine wine is better or different than young vine wine. I think that there is something to it. I used to be a skeptic. Back 20 years ago, I thought, young vines can produce as good a grapes as old vines can. My threshold, I think I see a difference in the density, the richness, the complexity of a wine when the vines are in that 10 to 12 year range. It leaps over that, and then I think you're getting the true production of those vines and getting a much better sense of what those vines are capable of. So I'm an old vine guy.
Right. Okay. I see. Yeah, because I've seen some pictures in Italy of vines that are 180 years old that weren't affected by phylloxera, and the fruit that it's producing is very different.
You get to a point where the vine itself is chugging out fruit, but after that 40 to 45, 50 year mark, the fruit production, the quantity, begins to fade. It begins to drop off a little bit. Now, there comes a balance, however. If you're getting a small quantity of really high quality fruit, I can live with that. I like that. So 180 years, that's pretty old. I haven't seen, we've got some wonderful stuff down in California, some old vine, Carignan, Petit Syrah, Zinfandel, old vine stuff down in California. And we're getting there in Washington. You've got vineyards that were planted now 40 to 50 years ago that are still producing, and it's great stuff. We just have more decades ahead of us.
Right, exactly. So what do you see as really being the future, and what does the next 10 years look like for Washington State?
Next 10 years, I'm bullish on that. I see, first of all, from a people standpoint, I see vineyard managers and winemakers, another generation younger than I am, making outstanding decisions about quality. They're doing things in the vineyard, they're doing things in the cellar, which focus on quality. And that levels our playing field with Washington wine and any other district. I see the discovery of new vineyard regions in the Columbia Valley. Is it possible we have not planted the very best Washington vineyard yet? I mean, that's totally possible. Is it possible that we haven't married every best site up with its specific variety? I think we're going to discover a lot more of that. The other thing that's happening in the next decade is we're going to know a lot more about clonal selection, meaning we might grow Syrah in these several different sites, but there are different clones of Syrah. And we're doing a lot of experimentation in the state right now to see which clones produce best for our conditions, and then more specifically, which clones still on the way up in Washington. This is still, I don't think we're adolescent anymore. I think we've gotten beyond adolescence, but our curve is still on the way up. Very exciting.
So you were talking about innovation. What kind of innovation is happening here in Washington State?
How we're treating our fruit is a huge thing. How are we picking it? How are we processing it after the stem? Are we draining and pressing, or are we crushing it? What kind of woods we're using? Great French oak or great American oak might work for some other vineyard region, but does it work specifically for what we're doing here? Our little winery, we're 3,500 cases. We have about 6 experiments going every year, even at our size. And the big boys, the Chateau Saint Michel's of the state, even have more going on. And it's that kind of experimental leadership that's going to produce higher quality wine. That's what's happening.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure, Cheri. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And check them out at BettzFamilyWinery.com, is that correct?
BettzFamilyWinery.com.
Okay.
You got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Much appreciated.